Everything in Tulsa looks calm. But this calm is a lie. Because Dwight Manfredi is about to start a war he never plans to finish with mercy. And the craziest part? Everyone thinks he's rebuilding his life. They have no idea he's quietly pulling strings, planting traps, and getting ready to double-cross the people who trust him the most. This is the moment where friendships crack, loyalty gets sold, and enemies appear inside Dwight's own circle. What's coming for Tulsa isn't a fight. It's a storm with Dwight at the center, planning every strike like a man who already knows the ending. Dwight's rise in Tulsa was never simple. But everything that happened before Season 3 is the reason the fire is about to explode now. After leaving prison, he came to Tulsa with nothing but old-school rules and the stubborn belief that loyalty still means something. But the moment he began building his new empire, trouble began to follow. He turned a small weed shop into a moneymaker, gathered a crew of misfit partners, and proved that Tulsa is a place where a smart gangster can grow faster than in New York. But while Tulsa opened its doors to Dwight, New York never let go of him. The Manfredi family, especially Chickie, still sees him as a problem that needs to be removed. Their reasons are personal, built on years of bitterness and ego. And even though Dwight tried to move forward, the past keeps reaching for him. Then comes the pressure from the law. ATF agents watch his every move, waiting for the moment he slips. They see him as a criminal returning to old habits, but what they don't understand is that Dwight is smarter than he looks. He knows how law enforcement thinks, how they follow patterns, how they wait for evidence. So he stays calm, plays innocent, and acts like a man who wants peace. But inside, Dwight is always planning 2 steps ahead, and every friendly smile he gives is another layer of the mask he wears. Meanwhile, his own crew begins to show cracks. Some follow him because they believe in him. Some follow him because they fear Chickie, and some follow him only because there is money on the table. This imbalance is the silent danger Dwight cannot ignore. A leader knows when his people are drifting, and Dwight feels that drift like a cold wind. There are secrets moving behind his back, whispers from people he trusts, and mistakes that don't feel like mistakes. Someone is lying to him, and he knows it. He doesn't say it out loud, but he watches everyone closely, waiting for the moment the hidden traitor shows their hand. And then there's Chickie. His hate for Dwight grows every day. At first, Chickie was a storm of anger and impulse, but something changed. He became quiet, patient, and calculated. Now he waits, plans, and strikes only when it hurts the most. He wants Dwight broken, not just beaten. And that change in Chickie is what makes him dangerous. A calm enemy is always the deadliest. All of this old enemies, watching agents, confused loyalty, secret betrayal builds the path toward the endgame. Dwight stands in the middle of it, pretending the world is under control. But deep down, he knows something powerful is coming. A moment where everything he built will either rise higher or burn to ashes. And the most shocking part, Dwight isn't trying to stop it. He's guiding it. He's pushing every piece toward a collision that will decide who controls Tulsa for years to come. Because Dwight Manfredi has never been a man who runs from a fight. He is the kind of man who shapes the battlefield before stepping onto it. And Season 3 is where all those hidden moves finally break the surface. Everything in Tulsa begins to feel heavier as Season 3 moves forward. It's like the air itself knows something dark is forming, even if no one can name it yet. Dwight can sense it more than anyone. Years in the mob trained him to read danger before it arrives, and every instinct in him is ringing like an alarm bell. But instead of stepping back, he leans into the tension. He watches, waits, and lets the pressure build, because sometimes, the best way to expose the truth is to let the lies break on their own. The first signs of trouble come from the arrival of new players. Tulsa isn't the quiet playground Dwight once found. Word of his sudden rise has spread beyond the city. Rival crews from other states begin to sniff around, trying to figure out how a man, fresh out of prison, built such a strong base so quickly. Some think Dwight is weak because he's older. Some think he is careless because he runs his empire with a smile instead of a threat. And some simply want to test him. But none of them understand that Dwight's calm is not softness, it's control. He watches them make their moves, offers a handshake instead of a fist, and lets them believe they're dealing with a man who can be negotiated with. It's all part of his plan to make the enemy feel comfortable right before he cuts off their power. Inside Dwight's own circle, things become even more complicated. Loyalty becomes shaky. Money goes missing. People start asking questions they shouldn't. Dwight's crew was built fast, and fast-built families always come with weak bones. Some men want more than their share. Some want to rise faster than they should. And at least one of them is secretly feeding information to someone outside the crew. Dwight doesn't show his worry. He never raises his voice, but every time he looks at his people, he is silently studying them. Who avoids eye contact? Who stands too confidently? Who is too nervous? Dwight knows people better than they know themselves, and he can smell a liar before they even open their mouth. But instead of calling them out immediately, he waits. He lets the traitor think they're safe. A false sense of safety makes a traitor reckless. And reckless people always reveal the truth. On the other side, Chickie is preparing for his own comeback. His rage has cooled into a kind of focused hatred. He doesn't want to scream anymore. He wants revenge that feels permanent. For years, Chickie lived in his father's shadow, and Dwight's presence made him feel even smaller. Killing Dwight isn't enough for him now. Chickie wants to ruin the life Dwight is trying to rebuild. He wants Dwight's people to turn on him. He wants Dwight to lose Tulsa the same way Chickie lost his father's respect. So Chickie starts influencing people quietly. He uses fear, money, old debts, and promises of power to twist the cracks inside Dwight's crew. And the worst part is that some of those cracks are already wide open. While all of this happens, the law tightens its grip. Agents move closer, gathering evidence, tracking Dwight's money flow, watching his crew's badly hidden mistakes. They think they're closing in on Dwight, but Dwight knows they're coming long before they knock on a door. He adjusts his operations, moves money differently, and gives just enough information to keep the agents looking in the wrong direction. The smarter the enemy, the more carefully Dwight plays his moves. To him, this isn't fear, it's strategy. Federal pressure is just another storm he has to guide, not escape. The city of Tulsa watches all of this in silence, unaware that they're sitting on top of a powder keg. Every new gangster in town, every federal car parked on a quiet street, every whispered conversation inside Dwight's bar. All of it is shaping the war that is about to ignite. And in the center of the storm stands Dwight Manfredi, steady and dangerous. He isn't afraid of the fire coming his way. He's preparing to use it. Because Dwight doesn't win fights by avoiding them, he wins by choosing exactly when and where the battle begins. And in Season 3, that choice is inching closer with every smile he fakes, and every hand he shakes. The shift begins slowly, almost quietly, like the first crack inside a wall that looks solid from the outside. Dwight starts moving differently, more careful, more calculated, yet somehow more unpredictable. People around him think he's slipping, maybe losing focus. But the truth is the exact opposite. This is Dwight at his sharpest. This is Dwight building a trap so large and so subtle that none of his enemies, not even the ones inside his own crew, can see it forming around them. Because the double cross he's planning isn't just a simple betrayal. It's a full chessboard of lies designed to expose everyone targeting him. It starts with small pieces of information, tiny details Dwight spreads at the right time to the right people. He tells one member of his crew a fake location for a money drop. He hints to another that he's meeting with a potential ally. He casually mentions to someone else that he's getting nervous about Chickie's growing influence. Each mistake is actually intentional, placed like bait in a trap. Dwight pays attention to what leaks out, who reacts strangely, and which enemies show up where they shouldn't. Every wrong detail that resurfaces tells him exactly who is betraying him and who is being used by Chickie or the rival crews to get closer to his organization. The beauty of Dwight's plan is that nobody suspects a thing. His age, his humor, and his calm nature work in his favor. People assume he's too old-fashioned to play complex games. They think he relies on muscle, not manipulation. But Dwight's real power has always been his mind. He can read people better than a detective and lie better than a politician. He knows when someone is hiding something by the way they breathe. He knows when someone is in danger by the way their eyes move. Every small detail is a clue to Dwight, and by now, he has collected enough clues to know that his enemies aren't just surrounding him. They're stepping exactly where he wants them to. As the lies travel around Tulsa, Dwight begins preparing the next layer of the double cross, turning rival groups against one another. The new syndicate, poking around in Tulsa, thinks they can push Dwight aside. Chickie thinks he can control the narrative and make everyone see Dwight as weak. But Dwight quietly feeds each side different problems, different fears, different stories. He makes Chickie believe the new crew wants to side with him. He makes the new crew believe Chickie is preparing to wipe them out. He doesn't tell one big lie, he tells hundreds of small ones, each aimed at stirring fear, mistrust, and anger. And fear is always the fuel that starts a war. While this happens, Dwight also begins reshaping his own crew from the inside. He rewards the loyal ones with trust. He keeps the suspicious ones close enough to watch, and the traitor, whoever they are, Dwight, lets them think they're winning. He wants them comfortable, relaxed, and confident. Because people reveal their true intentions only when they believe they're safe. Dwight is patient. He knows exactly how to pull the truth out without violence. But when the moment comes, the traitor won't just be expelled, they'll be used as the final push that triggers the war Dwight is preparing to unleash. The most dangerous part of Dwight's double-cross is the emotional cost. He is lying to friends, manipulating people he cares about, and risking the lives of his crew. But Dwight understands something important. If he doesn't control this war, someone else will. And that someone will not show mercy. Chickie wants destruction. The other crews want power. The feds want a clean arrest. None of these paths leave Dwight with a future, so the only option is to create a scenario where all his enemies look at each other, not him. Step by step, the city begins shifting. Alliances grow shaky. Whispers turn into arguments. Chickie's men move nervously. Rival crews tighten security. Even federal agents sense something changing but can't understand what it is. The confusion is not chaos, it's Dwight's design. He is turning Tulsa into a stage where every actor is reading from the wrong script. And when the lights finally hit the stage, everyone will realize that the only man who knew the full story from the beginning was Dwight Manfredi himself. By the time the double cross is fully in motion, Dwight stands exactly where he wants, underestimated by everyone, trusted by no one, and feared by the few who are wise enough to sense his plan. The old-school gangster from New York didn't just adapt to Tulsa, he mastered it, and his double cross is the spark ready to ignite the greatest war the city has ever seen. The moment the first shot is fired, or the first body drops, people will say the war started there. But the truth is, this war began long before the violence. It began the second Dwight made Tulsa his territory. It began when Chickie lost control. It began when jealous men, scared men, and hungry men all decided they deserved more than what they had. And now, all those choices, all those hidden betrayals, and all those quiet lies have finally reached their breaking point. The war isn't coming. It's already on its way, like a storm breaking through the sky. And no one can stop it. The trigger is something small at first, almost too simple to be the start of a disaster. Maybe it's an attack on one of Dwight's businesses. Maybe it's a hit on someone from his crew. Maybe it's a sudden message from Chickie that feels more like a threat than a warning. Whatever it is, Dwight recognizes it instantly. He knows the exact moment when things shift from tension to open conflict. Because that moment hits him like a wave he has felt 100 times before. It's the same feeling he had back in New York. The same shadow that followed him into prison. The same cold spark that starts when men with power finally decide they're done pretending to be civil. But Tulsa is different. It's not built for mob wars, not shaped for multi-sided battles. It's a city that still believes in peace, still trusts the law, still thinks men like Dwight don't exist anymore. And that innocence is what makes the coming war so dangerous. The streets aren't ready. The people aren't ready. Even the police don't understand how deep the danger goes. Rival crews moving quietly at night. Chickie's hitters slipping into town under false names. Federal agents creeping around with clipboards full of secrets. All of this creates a pressure that the city can't see, but Dwight feels as clearly as breathing. As the first pieces fall apart, Dwight stays calm. He knows panic is the sharpest weapon against a man, and he refuses to let fear guide him. Instead, he sharpens his focus. His crew gathers around him, some with loyalty, others with fear, and a few with hesitation that Dwight doesn't miss. This is the moment when true colors come out. This is where cowards run, traitors hide, and the loyal stand tall. Dwight doesn't yell. He doesn't threaten. He simply lays out what needs to be done. Because in a war, clarity is more powerful than rage. Meanwhile, Chickie pushes everything he has into the fight. His plan is simple. Crush Dwight fast. Crush him hard. Crush him so completely that there's no chance of him rising again. But Chickie forgets something important. Dwight has fought for survival his whole life. Dwight knows how to lose people, how to rebuild, how to strike when the time is right. He doesn't fight with anger. He fights with memory. And memories are weapons sharper than any knife when the past is filled with betrayal. Then there's the new syndicate. The outsider crew that came to Tulsa believing they could take the city from Dwight. Now they see a chance to gain power by attacking during the chaos. They think Dwight will be too busy dealing with Chickie to fight back. That's the mistake that seals their fate. Because Dwight designed this war to bring them into the open, he wants all threats in one place. He wants to end them all together. And now, the trap he's been building finally snaps shut. The streets become a map of moves and countermoves. Meetings happen in abandoned lots. Deals are whispered in dark bars. Cars follow each other through the night with guns under the seats. It's not a loud war at first, it's a silent one. But silence breaks quickly. When the first major hit lands, everything explodes. Crews collide, allies switch sides. Tulsa becomes a battlefield of choices. And at the center stands Dwight, not reacting, but directing. He isn't fighting to survive, he's fighting to finish what he started with his double cross. The most powerful part of the war isn't the violence. It's the moment people realize Dwight predicted every step. The rival crews turning on each other, Chickie overplaying his hand. The traitor exposing themselves. The feds getting dragged into a mess they don't understand. None of this is random. It's all part of Dwight's plan to burn away the lies until only the true threats remain. And when the dust settles, only one truth stands clear. Dwight didn't just survive the war, he shaped it. He used it. He mastered it. The war wasn't something that happened to him. It was something he unleashed with precision, patience, and a level of control that no one thought he still had.